A doorway is a parabolic arch. The base of the doorway is 2 meters wide. At a point 0.5 meters from one side of the doorway, it is 3 meters high. Determine an equation that expresses the door. Could an item that is 3.5 meters high fit the doorway? All right, so first things first, let's develop this equation. Actually, let's back it up a bit. Let's draw a picture. So we have this doorway. That is 2 meters. So 0 and 2. It has a parabolic arch. It says right here at a point 0.5 meters from one side. So I'm going to pick this side right here. So this is going to be 0.5 meters. This is just for ease. This is a 1 and this is 1.5 meters. Okay. This is 3 meters high. So if I were to give it a coordinate point, it would be 0.5, 3. Now, we have the two zeros, right? 0 and 2. So we can write up an equation, and what we would do is we would use this point right here to substitute, so the 0.5, 3, we would use that to substitute and solve for our a, just like we did in our last question, just this has a context, that's all. So y equals a times, I could write x minus 0, x minus 2, okay? But what can I also write x minus 0 as, guys? You're right, just x. A times x, x minus 2. So what I want to do at this point right here is sub in 0.5, 3. So for my x, I'll sub for my x I'll sub in 0.5, and for my y I'm going to sub in 3. So I'm going to say 3 equals a. I don't know what a is. That's what the whole point of this I'm solving. A 0.5 times 0.5 minus 2. Just going to switch markers here. 3 equals a times 0.5 times negative 1.5. 0.5 times negative 1.5 is 0.75, so 3 equals a negative 0.75. I want to divide both sides by negative 0.75, so then my a is actually going to equal negative 4. So look, I can substitute my a in for here. So I'm going to have my equation almost right away. So y equals negative 4x times x minus 2. And we're done. Why does this make sense? Well, it's opening down, right? So the coefficient we know has to be negative. Let's talk about b. So could an item that is 3.5 meters high fit through the doorway? And I know you practically minded people are going to be thinking, well, how wide is it? If it's 3 meters high, if it's 3.5 meters high, like how wide is it? Is it the exact 2 meters? Because if it's 2 meters wide, it wouldn't fit here. Let's think of it as maybe like a 2x4, okay? Or maybe a sheet of plywood, okay? Something that's thin. So, will it fit here? Well, all we need to do is see what the highest point is, right? What's the highest point on this? Ding, 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 the vertex. And we know that the vertex is at 1, comma, some y, okay? Some y coordinate. How do you know that it's 1? I'll show you. Let's look back here. We said that the vertex was going to be through that middle point x-wise, okay? So x2, 2, minus 0, 2, divided by 2 is 1. all I did was I used that formula, x equals x2 minus x1 over 2. But I did it in my head, because sometimes you don't need to show all of your steps. Some things are a little bit more logical. So I know that this right here is my axis of symmetry. So if I plunk in to the equation here, 1, I should be able to figure out what the y coordinate of the vertex is. If it's more than 3.5, woohoo! That means that it can actually fit. So we have y equals -4 times 1 times 1 minus 2. So the y coordinate of the vertex is -4, -4, yeah, no, that's good. -4 times 1 times -1, because 1 minus 2 is -1, we're going to have 4. So the answer is yes. Absolutely. Because if this highest point right here is 1, 4, then we know that something that is 3.5 meters high will actually be able to fit the doorway. Before I stop, I just want to be clear, we can use this form right here, the factored form, because it just says determine an equation. And guess what, guys? The factored form at this point is way easier. If we wanted to, we could give the general form. We would just multiply this out and figure that out, but it's not specific. So if it's not specific, the factored form is A-okay with me.